I find this pretty interesting. But you've got Artur Beterbiev coming out saying that Anthony Yarde is going to beat Sergey Kovalev, or that Anthony Yarde can beat Sergey Kovalev. Now, I know that Artur Beterbiev and Kovalev have got beef going back to their amateur days. They fought several times. But they're still countrymen at the end of the day. I know Beterbiev is Chechen and their ethnicity is different, but their nationality is the same, right? They're both Russians. So for a Beterbiev to be coming out backing Anthony Yarde to win, is it because he genuinely thinks Yarde will win? Or is it wishful thinking? Does he dislike Sergey Kovalev that much that he's hoping Anthony Yarde beats him? Let me quote Artur Beterbiev directly. He says, "It's a hard task, but I do think Yarde has got a good chance. Yarde is a very hard puncher and has a chance of knocking him out, but we are still waiting to see him get hit at that level. I think he has a good chance, but it isn't just Kovalev. Boxing there in Russia is a lot different to being in London where there are home comforts. Kovalev is very good and it's a case of what is left in him." He goes on to say, "Even though he is a potential opponent and rival, we have to support him and wish him all the best out there. I will support any British fighter, especially on the road. I've seen people online saying Yarde has no chance against Kovalev, but those saying that are the ones who will say, I knew he could do it if he wins. As fighters in the public eye, we have to accept that people give opinions on us and will want us to get beat. But Anthony has to do what he wants, and he is by having this fight. This is the main thing, and all I can do is wish him well." So those are the words of Artur Beterbiev. Again, why is he saying he will support any British fighter, especially on the road? Beterbiev is not British. Beterbiev, as far as I can tell, has no association with the UK. He was briefly fighting under Matchroom and on DAZN, very briefly for one fight. But other than that, I'm not aware of any association he has with the UK. So, interesting. Was Beterbiev in the 2012 Olympics? Maybe he was. Maybe that's an association. But yeah, wishing that Anthony Yarde beats Sergey Kovalev. I mean, he called Kovalev out a couple weeks back for a unification. And I don't know whether there's been any negotiation or any talks between the two camps. I don't know. But at least publicly, there's been radio silence on that unification, because that would supersede a mandatory. Yeah, if you had a Kovalev-Beterbiev fight got made, they could defer that mandatory. They'd have to pay Anthony Yarde some step-aside money, but still, that fight could happen without any issues for either Beterbiev or Sergey Kovalev by way of getting stripped. As long as Yarde agreed, obviously, to step aside and allow the unification to happen. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below, particularly if you're Russian or Chechen, or you have a better knowledge of the backstory between Kovalev and Beterbiev than me. I'd be interested to hear from you in the comment section about why Beterbiev will be coming out saying something like this. Does he genuinely believe that Yarde has got a good chance, or is he wishful thinking? I certainly believe that Anthony Yarde has the hand speed to trouble Kovalev, and he has the punching power to knock Kovalev out. But I also think Kovalev has the punching power to knock Anthony Yarde out. I mean, to be fair, I've never seen Anthony Yarde hit on the chin. I've never seen him wobbled. Well, I've seen him hit on the chin, but not by anybody who can punch. But the fact that he has been matched with so many non-punchers, even in so-called step-ups, that makes you ask questions about whether this man potentially has punch resistance issues. So I suspect that Anthony Yarde is susceptible to Sergey Kovalev's power. And of course, it's not just about power. It's about boxing skills. It's about boxing IQ. It's about experience. It's about being able to hold it together mentally. And Anthony Yarde isn't a guy who had a lot of amateur fights. He wasn't boxing all over the world like some of these very experienced amateurs. He doesn't have that experience to fall back on when he goes to Sergey Kovalev's hometown, into the bear pit, into the lion's den. He doesn't have no experience in that kind of environment to fall back on. So there are a lot of questions about Anthony Yarde. But if you're just talking from a physical, athletic standpoint, I'm sure that Anthony Yarde, if he lands flush on Kovalev's chin, he can knock him out. I'm sure about that. But, as old as I am, I could hit certain people, certain professional fighters, if I had a free shot, and I could clean them out too. But in a fair fight, it'd be a very different story, right? A very different story. I wouldn't last very long with any of the top heavyweights, of course. But again, if I had a free shot, I'd drop a lot of them, So it's a lot more than punching power we're dealing with here, people. It's a lot more than hand speed and athleticism. But if there is one thing that Anthony Yarde can take encouragement from, maybe, is the fact that last time Kovalev fought in his hometown against Isaac Chilemba, he did not look impressive. Isaac Chilemba was able to land punches on Sergey Kovalev often. He was able to rock his head back with jabs, with hooks, and it was a very awkward night for Kovalev. Didn't look good at all. If Anthony Yarde was in that same position, where he's landing those same kind of shots, Kovalev would be in a lot more trouble. I mean, Kovalev wasn't really in trouble against Chilemba, but he would find himself in trouble against Anthony Yarde if Yarde was landing the kind of shots Chilemba was landing. Because I'm telling you now, Yarde hits a hell of a lot harder than Chilemba. I know what my eyes are looking at. This guy hits a lot harder than Isaac Chilemba. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out.